Hello and a warm welcome to the year's end review of events that made news headlines in and around Nigeria in 2016.
Indeed, the year, like any other, was full of ups and downs, both in Nigeria and across the world, but it had its own unique moments. There were issues and events, and many of them unprecedented.
Well, we're taking you along a long journey, looking at some of these things and track them in our news broadcast through the year. I'm Sulaiman Alede.
And I'm Harriet Agbinyi, your anchors on the show tonight, and it's reaching you live on Channels Television, your home for the news.
We'll also be joined by our panel of studio analysts who will be x-raying the news-making events as they played out through the year.
Well, once again, you're welcome to the good, the bad, and of course the ugly of 2016.
We'll take a moment now, and when we return, you get to meet our studio guests on the show who will be analyzing the different shades, sides, and tides of 2016.
Please stay with us.
Stay connected to the world with the Channels TV app for mobile to get all the stories around the world available on Android, iOS, and Windows phones. Tap the expertise you trust. Touch the stories that touch you. Anytime, anywhere. Channels TV app for mobile. The news at your fingertips.
The political scene in 2016 had no shortage of high drama. As soon as the year got underway, the erstwhile ruling People's Democratic Party found itself in unfamiliar territory, out of power and in opposition for the first time since 1999.
That's right, Sulaiman, but of course we'll get to that in just a bit. That's to introduce the first set of reports that we'll be taking a look at for 2016. Then let's take a look at some of the issues that happened in 2016. We started out with the issues of the economy being in a technical recession and then going into a semi-recession and then full recession, and not to mention the issue of budget padding.
You know, in all of this, the word padding got its own fair share of definition and meanings in our political lexicon in the country. Many had their own definition of what padding was about. How that played out is something that you get to see in the course of the program. But it actually saw that the budget had a back and forth journey between the executive and the legislature. And how, again, it finally came to pass is something that you surely get to see on the package today.
Well, most Nigerians looked at that particular saga as one of the uglies of 2016, and it's still going to be playing out in 2017 as we're waiting for the passage of the 2017 budget. Of course, the 2016 budget, they still got about 5 months to be in operation, and after that, we're talking about the 2017 budget. But another issue that rocked 2016 for Nigerians was with regards energy. Now, it seemed as if the presidency and, of course, the legislature got their act together with regards to this particular issue, but it still was a sticky one.
It was a sticky one because when we talk about the energy crisis, for the first time, Nigerians witnessed what they would call the removal of petrol subsidy and an increment in the price of petroleum product. But again, one thing, Harriet, I did see in the year is the love for the letter P, whether it was something that has to do with petrol or pricing, some other things about padding, but that it would seem as if coming into 2016, we love the letter P. So petrol pricing, and for the first time getting to see that subsidy was taken off petroleum prices. Didn't quite see the kind of drama that we would have seen from the people. We never saw a lot of people troop out to the streets. It would seem as if they had a fair understanding of what it was. So the energy crisis came upon us, and even OPEC had a slash on that.
Oh yes, that was towards the end of 2016. We had the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries reducing oil output by 1.2 million barrels per day. A lot of people had actually thought that this was not going to happen because there was so much drama among some of this Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. Saudi Arabia, for instance, Iran, just coming out of being sanctioned. They wanted to have their full share of the market and ensure that they got their revenues back. back, because being closed and being locked up for so long, they felt they had been shortchanged. But everybody came to the negotiating table and there was an agreement. 1.2 million barrels per day off starting 2017. And a lot of market analysts were quite excited about this. We saw oil prices rallying to as high as $55 per barrel. And it was good news for Nigeria, especially in 2017 budget. We have the benchmark for oil at $42.50 per barrel.
You know, another thing is that in your own sector, which is the economy, I think almost everyone, even the sporting world, everyone was really, really busy when it has to do with the economy. And that was when we also had more definition concerning whether we were technically, you know, in recession, because those were the key words used to qualify the word recession from the finance minister of the country. And we went back and forth. And that came before, you know, before that came, we had, you know, series of analysts and experts who were telling us that we were clear out, you know, we were very, very okay. The economy was doing pretty well. And when it came to us, finally, the government came and it was loud and clear. They said, Nigeria economy is in recession.
Of course, that was because we had 3 consecutive contractions recorded in 2016. In the first quarter, 0.36, and of course 2.04% in the second quarter and 2.24% in the third quarter. But still talking about the energy issues, and we just need to hurry this up a little bit. We had issues with regards to suspension of flights because the airlines were not able to get Jet A1, and so we had cancellation of flights. We had so many being cancelled outright, and we had some people having to miss, you know, appointments and the rest of it. And then the airline operators had pretty challenging, you know, days this 2016.
It was, I think it's something that the aviation sector is, you know, it was a sticky one for the aviation sector, talking about the non-availability of Jet A1, that's aviation fuel, which also almost made a fantastic celebration for people during this Yuletide. But it would seem as if what started, you know, in almost the first quarter of the year never, you know, abated. And that is why many Nigerians are still worried about the availability of Jet A1 and what the aviation sector is doing on this. But we're hoping that as we move into 2017, this will be sorted. But it's something that definitely we'll be talking about today on the program, so that we can refresh your memory and see how best we can take some of these things into 2017 and make it a better year for us.
Well, 2016 will not be complete if we do not talk about the security challenges that we witnessed. Of course, 2016 saw a major high with the federal government battling the Boko Haram insurgents, and of course we had a high scourge of kidnapping of high-profile Nigerians to school children and even the ordinary man.
I think talking about the issue of kidnapping, it's one sore point, because it would seem as if they changed tactics from high-profile Nigerians to just ordinary students. And what we saw in some other places, even in Lagos State, was something that really, really shook the nation. But again, I think the security operatives were on top of the game, and I think we recorded some huge success in that regard. But again, getting close to the end of the year, this is the last day of the year. We still haven't been able to put our fingers on why we still get to see what we see in terms of kidnapping of any Nigerian, because now it's not about high-profile Nigerian. Everyone and anyone in the country seem to be a target of these people. Perhaps that is the more reason we should be speaking with the security chiefs today on the show to ask questions of what findings they've been able to make in the course of the year.
Exactly. We're talking about information gathering and intelligence sharing as well. This was a particularly trying year, and the security operatives didn't have it any easy. So, as Sulaiman had actually said, going into the program, we'll be talking about some of the highs and lows for security. Also, this year saw a lot of issues with regards cattle rustling in northern Nigeria, and the worst hit was Benue State.
Very unfortunate one we got there, knowing full well that I think this is one issue that still will hold the security agencies and the government responsible, because till this moment is either you get to hear stories, that's 2016, that these people are non-Nigerians, and we're yet to get to find out if some of the non-Nigerians have been apprehended and what former stories are saying. This has also snowballed into Kaduna State, southern part of Kaduna, is either you're talking about cattle rustling or some kind of a issue about some other people that wake up on a daily basis and they just realize that their loved ones have been taken out. Now we're talking about killed. These are some of the things, well, as Harriet also pointed out, the issue about Sambisa would seem as if it's the icing on the cake for security agencies in the country, specifically Nigerian military. For the first time, that flag you see there that has always been dominant in the video of Shekau, who's well, the leader of one half of Boko Haram. Don't forget that now, as it stands, it will seem as if Boko Haram is already divided. That flag is now in the hands of the man in charge of the nation. That's the president holding the flag. So it's one beautiful point, which is you know, bringing joy to many Nigerians. They say it's a Merry Christmas having this. And another thing they say they did find, perhaps they say, is the Quran. He does, I think, hold when he makes his video. I think these are some of the things we'll be talking about, because it's really a cheeky one, it's really a funny one, but it's an exciting moment where we'll get to see that the man who is known to be making series of videos has lost his flag, his banner, and his book. Well,
another best part for 2016 was the release of the 21 Chibok girls from the clutches of the Boko Haram insurgents. It was major celebration. So apart from the fact that they still continue to look for the other girls, the 21 girls who were able to come out of the clutches of the insurgents and go back home to their families, gave Nigerians so much to cheer about. But then again, there were still questions about where are the remaining girls. So if the stronghold, which was Camp Zero of the Boko Haram insurgents, have actually fallen, then where did the other girls go? That's another question we're going to be asking and hoping to get answers to. And then another issue that came up in 2016 were the issues of land disputes, which actually led to hundreds of people being killed in states across the country: Benue, Jos, Anambra, Imo, and Delta, just to mention a few.
You know, when people wake up and they see that there's communal clashes across different parts of the country in different geopolitical zones, we're hoping that this wouldn't be one of the things we'll get to see in 2017. How did the governments around these, now we're talking about regional governments now, as well as these people around these places, handle this matter? And if this, again, is something that the federal government, that's the government at the center, is also interested in, is what we'll hope to unravel today on the program, just before we kiss 2017 a welcome
and say goodbye to 2016. But of course, let's talk about what actually happened in 2016, starting from politics. There was a lot of internal crisis and wrangling in the two major political parties. So I guess let's start from there. And as soon as the year got underway, the erstwhile ruling People's Democratic Party found itself in unfamiliar territory, out of power and in opposition for the first time since 1999. It was a rocky start, with the party's leadership and the PDP Governors Forum at cross purposes over who should become the party's chairman. Now, on January the 28th, the governors demanded that both Mr. Ahmed Gulak, a former presidential aide who had declared himself the party's national chairman, and the sitting acting national chairman, Mr. Uche Secondus, should step aside immediately. So we're starting on a political footing. We're being joined now on the program by Mr. Adiola Shoeton. He's a political analyst and the national coordinator, Democracy Vanguard. Mr. Shoeton, good evening to you, and thank you so much for joining us.
Happy New Year in advance.
Many thanks. And sitting right next to Mr. Shoeton is Mrs. Ojikutu Shinotu. She is the first female elected deputy governor of Lagos State. She's a former deputy governor of Lagos State. Good evening to you, ma. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
And Dr. Nick Idoko is to my immediate left. He's a lecturer with Samuel Adegboyega University of Public Affairs. He's a lecturer of Samuel Adegboyega University, and he's a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
So we'll come back in just a moment, and when we do come back, we'll start off talking about politics in 2016.
Stay with us.